When did I find out that I really wasn't white? Story time, mi gente. For those of you who don't know me, I was born and raised in the island of Puerto Rico. The reason I have an accent is because English is my second language. In Puerto Rico, we do learn some English in school, but not enough to be fully conversational. So it was under that context that back in 1989, I decided to join the U.S. Army when I was only 18 years old. Given them my lack of skills with the English language, I ended up somewhat struggling during my basic training. Thankfully, I had a Puerto Rican friend who was from New York and bilingual who could help me to survive it. So after somehow graduating from basic training, advanced individual training, and urban school, in spite of my struggles, I then ended up landing at Fort Bragg, North Carolina to become part of the 82nd Airborne Division. During my first year there, as I was still learning and getting better with my English language, some of my fellow paratroopers sometimes would treat me like I was some kind of dumbass pendejo who didn't know shit just because I couldn't speak my second language as well as they could speak their first. That shit used to piss me the fuck off. Most of these fellow paratroopers who would mock me happened to share my same skin color. They were pretty much telling me that my skin color didn't make me white, at least not their type of white. So, after being in my unit for almost a year, we all got called to go to the Persian Gulf to be part of the Gulf War in 1990-91, where we ended up being placed literally in the middle of the desert in Saudi Arabia, where we had to build our own mini tent city, if you will, as we were getting ready to go into Iraq. Well, the leadership at the time didn't take charge of our living arrangements and basically allowed everyone to pick their own tent. Interesting enough, we all ended up divided by race groups. The white tents on one side and then the everyone else's tent. I had a choice to make then. It was either the tent with the people of my own skin color, who mostly treat me as their inferior, or the tent with everyone else, who for the most part were pretty cool with me. So I chose the tent with the rest. Right then and there, I fully understood to which tent I should always go to if I ever had to choose again a segregated tent. Needless to say though, such segregation ended up being disastrous to our unit's cohesion, since all it ever accomplished was intense division among us. The leadership, however, eventually realized they really fucked up and thankfully changed the arrangement for the better. You see, mi gente, ever since I first witnessed Trump back in 2015, purposely segregating people into different tents for his own selfish gains, I have always known two things. First, that I certainly don't belong to his MAGA tent. And secondly, that ultimately all of his bullshit divisive schemes will also end up being as disastrous to this country as our segregation ended up being back then to our fucking unit. Stay woke, mi gente. Dale.